Hello, everybody. Welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to our match reaction show. It's been a while since we've done one of these, but it's finished. England under-21s won. Spain under-21s nil. England are the European champions, under-21 champions. What a game. What a game. And you know what? This is what I love. Transfer rumors, that's great. Talking, gossip, that's all great. It's the football that we love, isn't it? It's the game that we love, and it's the game that I love to watch. And what a phenomenal game that I saw today. It was entertaining end to end. There was a lot of drama at the end. If you missed that, I would suggest if you can find the highlights of that, just go and watch it, because those last 2-3 minutes are worth watching for any football fan. They're worth watching. But ultimately, it was a very ill-tempered game. And I don't know why it was so ill-tempered. Ultimately, these are young kids, young footballers who are still growing into the game. It was perhaps there was a lot of gamesmanship for being a youth level game. There was a lot of gamesmanship. I think part of that is because even though you're under 21, many of them are 22, 23 years old. They've got that game experience. They've got that sort of now playing in big games, and they've now learned the dark arts, so to speak. But it was so fantastic to watch. And there's a lot of observations that came out that I have, and I will talk about that. But a few things that I noted. First of all, the goal. Now, was that a foul from Sergio Gomes? I think it was. I don't know why the Spain players on the bench decided to go and have a pop at Gordon. Why they decided to think that there was not a foul? It was a foul. And so not God, it was Palmer. I don't know why they decided to have a pop at Palmer, but the fact is it was a foul. It was a foul, and Gomes can have no complaints. He should have been more careful. Again, it was a bit naive because there were two players around Palmer at that point anyway. So he was looking for a foul. He was looking for somebody to tackle him so he could go down. So you don't want to give him that sort of situation to do that, but he did that anyway. And once he goes down, it's a foul. The free kick is pretty average, actually. It's actually crashing into the wall until it hits Curtis Jones in the back, and it goes in. So it goes in of Curtis Jones. It's a goal for Curtis Jones, even though we don't know it at that point, but it was a goal for Curtis Jones. That deflection was the thing, because without that deflection, that ball is popped away. Or it hits the ball and just goes away. So it's harmless. So it also catches Tenas off balance. But it's a goal. Did England deserve that? I think they were slightly the better team in the first half. I think they had not necessarily the better moments, but I think they had better control of that game for large parts of the first half, not entirely. So slightly better. But they got that goal, and once they got that goal, it was going to be uphill for Spain, because England have not conceded at all in this tournament. They've gone through this entire tournament without conceding a goal, which we'll talk about in a bit. But that became an uphill task. But it all came from that poor foul that didn't need to be given by Sergio Gomes. So that makes it 1-0. Now, in that second half, the one thing that I will say is I think England played with a 4-4-2 for way too long there. I think on the 52nd, 53rd minute, they should have switched to a 4-3-3, because I think initially Spain were kind of like caught out because of the 4-4-2, because you got two strikers up top. Spain were having difficulties. Once they got control of that midfield, they had control of that midfield. They never let it go. Throughout that game, I thought Spain's midfield dominated England's midfield, and it makes sense because Spain had three midfielders, whereas England had two sort of box-to-box midfielders, or one was a number 10. Gomes is really more of a number 10, and Jones is more of a box-to-box. So you're playing two of those players in that position. So there was no way they could counter that. So Spain had control, and I felt in the second half he should have made that change. Maybe whether it was Skip, whether it was whoever else he had on the bench, he had to bring somebody on, or maybe bring on a right back and put Garner as one of your midfielders. But he had to make that change because Spain was just running right, and I don't think he changed. I don't think he actually changed it till the end of the game, did he? Maybe towards the end when he brought on Elliott, it kind of switched to a 4-3-3, maybe, but kind of strict to the 4-4-2 for way too long, and that could have cost England. Because basically England were playing on the counter from that point on. But you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that right at the 54th, 55th minute. You want to do that towards the end, maybe the last 10 minutes. But at that point, to be doing that, it was very, very risky, which I thought. The problem for Spain was was the lack of a good striker, and we'll talk about that as well a little bit later on. But that was one observation. And then finally, the penalty. The penalty towards the end. Now that 3 minutes is one of the most accelerated 3 minutes I've seen in my time as a football fan. So was that a foul? I don't think it was a foul. And I'll say, I don't know who else agrees with me or not, but I don't think that was a foul. You can tell me if it was a foul, if you thought it was a foul in the comments, but I didn't think that was a foul. I thought that was it was a coming together. It's a coming together, and Ruiz, of course, is going to go down because he's looking for a penalty, because that's what they need. Spain need at that point, so he's going to go down. The referee's got to decide, and the VAR has got to decide: is that contact? Is that intentional? Is that a coming together? It was a coming together. Now I know intent doesn't matter in many situations, and in this situation, intent doesn't matter. But what is really happening is that there's two players that are both going for the ball, and their legs clash. It's not the case of one player just kicking the other player. It's not, right? What if Ruiz does that and Colwill goes down? Does that then become a foul towards Colwill? I don't think it should have been that way either. So to me, that was not a penalty. It was a bit harsh. But then again, I thought, that's football. Football doesn't always have the right decisions. And the problem is that I have the VAR sometimes is when refs are told, go look at go look at the monitor, it almost instantly means they're going to change the decision, which is not how it should be. VAR should only be to look at it as like, well, does this reinforce my decision? It can also be used to reinforce your decision. But sometimes I think most referees are now consciously thinking that, well, we got to change our decision because we've been told to change we've been told we might need to change our decision. So I kind of have an issue with that. But anyway, it was given, and that's the harsh reality of football. Sometimes, right at the 7th minute, by the way, 6th, 7th minute, last minute of the game, a penalty comes to Spain. And that's football, isn't it? Sometimes it's cruel. It's going to go to extra time, all of that. And then Abel Ruiz steps up to take the penalty. And I think in hindsight, Ruiz should not have taken that penalty. He should not have taken that penalty because, for one, he missed 2 very good chances in the match. And he had a wonderful header that he should have scored from, but he puts it wide. He had another shot that was on target, but he really should have done more with it. There was a goal that he did score, but that was called out for offside. A couple of guilty chances as well that he missed. So I just felt he should not have taken that penalty. Sometimes as a player, and especially as a captain, you've got to realize this is not my day. Today is not my day. I should not be taking this penalty because I'll probably miss it. Sometimes, luck does play a part. Yes, players with strong mentality, can often go right. It doesn't matter. I've missed 100 chances before this one. I'm going to score, right? But sometimes in big games, sometimes you also got to take that instant call and go, right? Today is probably not my day. Let me let somebody else take it. Of course, I understand that as a captain, you probably cannot do that. You're a leader and you're supposed to lead, and so you want to take that responsibility on. I get that as well. But sometimes being a leader also means knowing your own limitations and your own policies and allowing somebody else to step up and do that. So it goes both ways. I mean, like I said, I'll say this. I mean, it's not the right answer. There's no right answer, right? If you hadn't taken it, somebody else takes it, misses it. You go, well, why is the captain not taking it? Why is Ruiz not taking it? And if he had taken it and scored, nobody would say anything, right? So there's all sorts of things here. The fact is, as soon as he stepped up, I could see it. He's probably going to miss it. Like I could tell mentally, he's probably going to miss it. Like the penalty is not going to be a good penalty. He's not going to take a good penalty. He'll be lucky if the keeper dives the wrong way and he misses it. But he's going to be very lucky if he scores this because of the way that he was looking. He was very nervous, which you can understand. It's a big final. They're very young players. By the way, these are young players, which we cannot forget. We cannot forget the fact that these are very young players, and they will learn from this. This is a learning experience. It's not at the end of the journey. This is just one stop on their career journey. But in that moment, that there's going to be nervousness, and it wasn't a good penalty. Trafford gets right, saves it. Aymar follows up. He saves that one too. That second one is the important one because as good as that save is to anticipate and guess it right from Ruiz, that he could very easily, that follow-up could very easily have gone in where he's like, because you got the adrenaline rush and you kind of go, oh, I've saved a penalty, and then you don't realize there's a follow-up coming. But he made that second stop. That's important. And then the third one just goes over because then the players have kind of converged. So Spain will feel bad, hard done by missing that penalty, but I think ultimately on balance of play, England deserve to win. 1-0, they deserve to win it. They had the better chances. 8 shots on goal, 7 on target. That's a massive number. Spain, I think, only had 2 or 3 on target. Many of the shots were just speculative shots from Spain. I think they had more shots, but they were just like trying any kind of thing. And again, this goes back to the lack of a proper striker. I don't think Ruiz had a good game because he kept missing chances and missing opportunities. You can't do that in a big final, especially against a team like England where you don't get a lot of chances and they don't concede a lot of goals. They don't not consider a goal at all. You want to take your chances. That was a big issue. I thought Sancet could have probably played ahead. Maybe they could have done. I thought Sancet actually created some issues for England because he's playing a number 10 role, but he's very physical. I thought maybe they could have used him more, but for some reason they didn't. And maybe that's because of the way that Spain played. They prefer to play that intricate stuff. But maybe they could have been more direct with Sancet and maybe used him a little bit more, used his physical attributes a little bit more. But nonetheless, like I said, I think England deserved to win in the end. They were hanging on a little bit towards the end, and maybe that penalty would have been looked at in hindsight. We would have said, well, they shouldn't have played so deep. They should have not been like so defensive for the last 10 minutes or so, and maybe they could have got away with the second goal. They should have probably scored a second goal as well, England. But there were a couple of good chances. Tenas made a very good stop with Colwill. There was another one that Madueke could have scored, and then he made that stop as well. So there were chances. They just didn't take them. I was very, very impressed with Angel Gomes. I was very impressed with Angel Gomes because I've not watched a lot of him now, but whenever I saw him, because he's Manchester United Academy, so heard a lot about him. He's usually played as a winger or he's played as a number 10 when he was at Manchester United, but today he played as one of a two, and I think he's played there throughout this tournament. He's played there and he's shown very, very good defensive awareness. He's not a CDM by any stretch of imagination. He will never be a CDM, but he can do the box-to-box role really, really well. He was winning the ball back. His ball retention was pretty good. It's a big final, so he did have a few misplaced passes, but for the most part, his retention was pretty good, and I like that. I liked what I saw from him. He's done quite well at Lille for the last couple of for the last little while, and it's his progression is fun to watch. I'm assuming very soon he'll be linked with a move to a big club. A lot of these players will be. I mean, James Trafford was excellent as well. That penalty stop, I don't think he had a lot to do, but that penalty stop towards the end convinced me that this guy is one to watch. He's only one to watch. And probably, hopefully, at some point he will replace Pickford as number one, because there's a lot of talent there. There's a lot of talent. It's not just a penalty stop, but the fact that he's very commanding in the box. He's very calm. Obviously has got that understanding of game awareness as well. So I like watching him. I loved him. He's going to be at Burnley next season. We'll see how well he does. Hopefully he becomes number one there, and we can see how well he can do at Premier League level. But there's a player there. There's a star player. There's at Manchester City just producing players. I wasn't very happy with Cole Palmer. I thought he was probably if there was one player that I was not impressed with, it would probably be Cole Palmer. Now, Emil Smith-Rowe didn't have a good game either. He was quiet. He was very quiet as well. But I just thought Cole Palmer, with the amount of possession that he was getting, just every time looked very selfish, looked very wasteful. And then, of course, he got the free kick that he gets the assist for the goal, because it was his free kick that deflects on Jones and goes in. So he gets the assist for the goal. But I thought otherwise his gameplay was too one-dimensional. He was always looking to take on his player, take on his man. Sometimes you got to try and look for the pass as well, which he wasn't looking for. I don't know whether that was directive that was given to him, or whether something was going. Maybe he was trying to do too much. But I just wasn't impressed with him that much. I did like, my man of the match was Levi Colwill, but I thought him and Harwood-Bellis looked really, really good together. They did, and that could be a pairing to watch out for in the future. But I thought Colwill was fascinating. Penalty aside, because that wasn't really a penalty for me, but I thought he was man of the match. He was my man of the match. He really played well. And you can see why Brighton want him back. You can see why Chelsea want to keep him. There's a player there. There's a real player there. So the future is bright for England. The future and the present. In many of these players' cases, is the present, not just the future. They're present, and it's bright for England. You can see why they're dominating now at this level. So anyway, congratulations to England. Well done. Big win for them. Chin up Spain. This is a learning curve. At the end of the day, this is a learning curve. This is not the end of the journey. There's many more big matches to come, many more big moments to come for all of these players. And hopefully a few of them will do. But I will also end on this note. I don't know how Alex Baena managed to not get a red card. I'm not sure how he didn't get. There were so many yellow cards, so many red cards. He didn't get one. I don't know how he didn't get a red card. He was on a yellow, I think, for quite a while. He made so many fouls. Never got it in a second yellow. I don't know how that happened. I think the referee probably felt sympathetic for him or something. But he should have been sent off. I think he should really have been sent off. But anyway, congratulations to England. Well done, Spain. Top scorers of the tournament, of course, came up against the best defense, and oftentimes in the best offense meets the best defense wins. There's a lesson for you there. Anyway, well done, England. Congratulations to all England fans as well. Enjoy the night. Do smash a like on this video. Share your thoughts. Of course, if you're watching this on Facebook, you can also give us some stars. So please do give us stars if you enjoyed this video. It will help the channel, of course. Thank you so much for watching. And subscribe to on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And thank you so much. Take care. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.